Welcome everybody to Sky Studio. My name is Tuula and I am one of the co-founders of Sky Studio along with my husband Paul. Today's tutorial is going to be talking about how to create 3D printed characters like this one here, and how to paint it, how to put it together, and I hope you enjoy. So let's begin. Let's begin by talking about what you're going to need to get started. For actually, once you've printed your 3D printed object, you're going to need a couple of art supplies. So starting off with a glue gun with some glue sticks to put the pieces together. A little snipping tool to remove the parts from the base, possibly some sandpaper to sand down some of the rough edges. And so let's begin. You're going to also need some paint, some acrylic paints and some brushes. I have this handy bucket of paints and brushes that I use. So let's begin. Let me share my screen and we can start from the very beginning. Here we have this lovely little character, little girl character that I created. And you start off with a rough pencil sketch or an outline sketch of your character that you want to build. And I've started off with this line drawing, and then we scan it into the computer and we airbrush it using an airbrush tool. And so my husband Paul is the master at airbrushing, and so he added all these lovely colors to my little girl, jumping up and down with joy. She's so happy. And she's just such a fun little character that we've created. We've also created a boy character and a little dog character as well. So the next step to creating our 3D character is actually building her in 3D. And you need a 3D program to be able to create this character. But here she is, larger than life, and we've actually created a couple of animations of her. But we're just going to stick with the 3D modeling part of it right now. I'm not going to actually show you how she was modeled, but this is what the final result looked like. And from here, we create a wireframe. So here you can actually see the model in wireframe format that we're going to be sending in parts to the library. Brampton Library is wonderful because they have 3D printers that you can use for free, but it takes a little while to print this little character, so we have to actually print her in parts. So here she is, all broken up in parts: the front half of her face, the back half of her face, the side of her body, and the other side of her body gets printed. And you can almost visualize it being printed on the 3D printer. I don't have a copy of a picture of the 3D printer per se, but this is kind of what it looks like when it's actually being printed. So just to give you an idea as to how long this takes to print, it takes a couple of hours to print the front of her face, a couple of hours to print the back of her face, and a couple of hours to print both sides of her body. And then after it's been printed, I have a sample of the front and the back of the head right here. This is what it looks like depending on what color it gets printed with. You take your glue gun and you glue it together, and you can use your sandpaper and I have this handy filler that I use for filling in some of the gaps, because sometimes it has like little gaps in between the slices. So you glue it all together. I have our little dog as well that I printed here in parts. So once it's printed, then you can take advantage of decorating her. You notice here in the 3D character, her face is completely painted. I've knit her a little hat and a scarf to use for our backdrop for a Christmas card that we're going to be building. But let me explain how I painted her. With your acrylic paints, you can go in and do some painting of her face, adding in highlights to the eyes. You know, I'm going to just stop sharing my screen for now so that you can have a little bit of a close-up of her. See, she kind of looks like me, doesn't she? Yeah, I think she's like a little maquette of me. And she's got little nibbly teeth, and so I've gone in and I've actually shaded some of the details of her body, painted polka dots on her dress, and I've even built a little stand for her to stand on. So there you have it. You let that dry. These other acrylic paints work wonderfully on the 3D models that you print. So I'm going to share my screen again, take you to the next part. So here we have a photograph that we had taken of the 3 models. We created a boy model, a girl model, and a little dog model, and we created a little bit of an effect, blurred out effect. We also 3D printed some birch trees in the background to add some 3D effect. And then we've actually created a painting in the background of some birch trees that we created on watercolor paper, and then we just set in the background, and then we cropped it so that you wouldn't be able to see the top edges of the paper and everything. So here's a Christmas card that we created, and I added in some snow, and there's your 3D trees, there's Paul and I, and our dog running through the snow. I made a wonderful card for all our clients and for the people that we know, friends and relatives, just love getting Christmas cards from us. And so we had these printed. So there you have it. To visit our studio, Sky Studio, please visit us online at www.skystudio.ca. I hope that was very informative and that you join us again for some of our other tutorials that we have. We have a couple more tutorials on our website, so please go onto our website and check them out. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today.